WEAR News at 10 starts now.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Police say the body of a boater missing near Gulf Breeze has been located. Alerts went out to Gulf Breeze residents just after 9:30 last night about a water rescue along Soundview Trail. That's the road that runs along the Sound overlooking Pensacola Beach. Santa Rosa County says a man in his 50s fell off a boat in the Intracoastal and was not wearing a life jacket. It happened around the 1200 block of Soundview Trail. The annual Emerald Coast Electrathon hit the track today at Five Flags Speedway. 44 cars raced around the track representing competitors from Florida, Alabama, Louisiana, Georgia, and Texas. One organizer says it's mainly high school clubs who compete in the races, but there's also college students and adult competitors. They spend months building their own single-passenger electric cars. Now, today's competition featured 2 races, each 1 hour long. First place goes to whoever gets the most laps. Officials say the key to coming out on top is a balance of vehicle design, drive strategy, and innovation. Attendees say the Electrathon Classic fuels a passion beyond just racing cars.
We hope that it inspires their passion and future careers in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, but also they're learning soft skills like how to be a leader, a collaborator, a problem solver, and an innovator.
One of the biggest skills I learned was teamwork. If without teamwork, you will not get anything built. You will not get anything done. So one of the biggest things I learned was the amount of skills I got.
Florida Power and Light sponsors the annual event. And the 7th annual Pensacola Veg Fest brought vegan food vendors from across the area together today. In addition to those vendors, about 1,000 people hit Community Maritime Park to give vegan food a try. Now that would be food containing no animal products and causing no harm to animals. Organizers tell us the biggest growth this year is the amount of vegan food trucks joining the event.
We have a lot more food vendors. When we started was before the food truck revolution. So before we didn't have any food trucks. Now we have quite a bit, but we've got people here who are local, like Rican Vegan. You can find them, throughout Pensacola all the time. Slutty Vegan is down here from Birmingham. They're also located in Atlanta.
Well, sadly, organizers say this is the last year for Veg Fest due to the amount of work required to put on the event. Also, USA in Mobile christened its first steel ship today. The USNS Billy Frank Jr. will be the Navy's 6th-generation towing, salvage, and rescue ship. It's named for Native American environmental leader Billy Frank Jr. Today's ceremony included special guests from the Navy, the family sponsoring the ship, and Austal Management. Austal USA posted the following statement. We extend our heartfelt congratulations to the Frank family, the Nisqually tribe, and all those involved in bringing this great vessel to fruition. May the USNS Billy Frank Jr. sail with purpose and honor the values the late Billy Frank Jr. so passionately upheld. Alberta's famous German Sausage Festival returned today for another springtime Saturday of delicious food. Each year, thousands of people head to Alberta not only for the sausage, but also to support a great cause. All proceeds benefit the Alberta Volunteer Fire Department and other local nonprofit organizations. In addition to the sausage, there were dozens of other food and craft vendors on hand for the free event.
First Warning Weather, sponsored by Pensacola State College.
And now we'll turn things over to our meteorologist, Catherine Daniels. Looking like a beautiful night out there, all lit up.
Yeah, it is a little bit clearer now that we have lost the daylight. It was really hazy and overcast, but it is looking really pretty. This is our Hardee's Beach Cam out at Pensacola Beach. We do have a lot of changes coming our way. Parts of our area right now getting some showers, a few isolated thunderstorms into southern Alabama. But things are really going to start cranking up as we head into tomorrow and then Monday for sure in the southeast. The weather threat is how things stack up right now. We have a marginal risk and then a slight risk just on the northwestern edge of our viewing area forecast for tomorrow. And then on Monday expands to encompass our entire viewing area and well beyond that. We've had a really rough day surf-wise all along the Gulf Coast. That is expected to continue tomorrow. The possibility for double red flags to fly at Pensacola Beach and beyond are back. So we will take the futurecast for you hour by hour. It is super active for Monday, and we'll break it down for you to keep you safe and dry.
A wave of Take Down Tesla protests were held across the country and across the world today. The rallies took place outside Tesla dealerships targeting billionaire CEO Elon Musk, whose aggressive cost-cutting measures have led to thousands of federal workers being fired. Jen Sullivan has the recap on the protests.
Don't touch our Social Security! Crowds of protesters gathering outside a Tesla dealership in Washington Saturday. Outraged by the company's CEO, Elon Musk, whose influential role in the Trump administration has led to mass layoffs at government agencies and deep cuts to funding as the White House tries to rein in spending.
I think Trump is really running the country like a company, and he doesn't care about people.
Let's push Elon out the door!
Protests were held outside of Tesla dealerships across the country Saturday, part of a campaign dubbed Tesla Takedown.
Together we can take our government back.
Musk was put in charge of the agency known as DOGE, which stands for the Department of Government Efficiency. Its stated goal is to reduce government spending. So far, more than 121,000 workers have been fired from federal agencies since the start of Trump's second term. Many of Saturday's protesters say those cuts go too far.
This is not about efficiency. This is about reducing efficiency.
Organizers say these protests are meant to be peaceful, but they come amid a recent surge in violent attacks on Tesla vehicles and facilities. Cars and charging stations set on fire. The FBI has even stepped in to help crack down on the violent attacks, and the White House condemning them.
When I looked at those showrooms burning and those cars, not one or two, like 7, 8, 10 burning, exploding all over the place, these are terrorists.
I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
And we checked on the new Tesla dealership on 9 Mile in Pensacola and didn't see anyone protesting here. Wisconsin's Attorney General is pushing an appeal forward in hopes of stopping Elon Musk from handing out checks for $1 million to 2 voters in the state. The appeal comes after a Wisconsin judge Saturday declined to stop Musk. The billionaire plans to hand out the checks at a rally Sunday as he stumps against the Democratic candidate in Wisconsin's race for a new Supreme Court justice. The giveaway is only for Wisconsin residents who sign an online petition denouncing, quote, activist judges. Musk is also offering $100 just for signing the petition. Elon Musk's AI firm is buying out Elon Musk's social media platform. The tech billionaire announced Friday that xAI will acquire X for $45 billion in an all-stock transaction. You might have already heard of xAI. It's the company that developed the Grok chatbot for X. According to Musk, the deal will include $12 billion in debt since X is currently valued at $33 billion. Musk spent more than $44 billion to purchase the platform in 2022, back when it was called Twitter. After agreeing to policy changes proposed by President Trump, the head of an embattled Ivy League university is stepping down less than a year into the job.
Download the WEAR
Board of Trustees will be taking over, marking the university's 3rd president in less than a year. Resigning President Dr. Katrina Armstrong took up the position in August. She recently agreed to a series of demands from the White House in hopes of restoring federal funding. The Trump administration canceled $400 million in grants for Columbia on allegations of anti-Semitism. This is because of last year's student protests against Israel's bombing of Gaza. The FAA is investigating an incident that occurred near Washington, D.C. Friday. According to a statement, a Delta Airlines jet was taking off from Reagan National Airport when at least one of 4 Air Force jets passed underneath. They were part of a flyover at Arlington National Cemetery nearby. A collision avoidance alert activated in the Delta cockpit, and traffic controllers rushed to issue new instructions. Hamas leaders say they are ready to make a ceasefire deal as Middle Eastern allies work with Israel. Hamas says it accepted the terms for a new Gaza ceasefire proposed by Egyptian and Qatari mediators. Israel, however, says it's making a counter-proposal in full coordination with the United States. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office announced the counteroffer Saturday, but gave no details. It comes nearly 2 weeks since Israel ended its ceasefire with Hamas and resumed launching airstrikes on the territory. Rescue efforts continue in Myanmar and Thailand after that devastating earthquake shook Southeast Asia. More than 1,600 people killed in Myanmar, at least 3,000 injured. In Bangkok, 9 confirmed fatalities, with at least 80 more people still missing. Here's ABC's Dave Packer with the latest.
Rescue crews using jackhammers and mallets to break up and remove the rubble. Some using their bare hands as they race against the clock to find any possible survivors trapped under the debris after an earthquake struck Southeast Asia on Friday. The 7.7 earthquake was the worst in the region in the last 100 years. Its tremors and aftershocks felt throughout the region. The epicenter in the war-torn country of Myanmar. Millions there now without power, buildings toppled, roads torn apart. Myanmar state-run media showed this woman being rescued from the wreckage of this collapsed building. These before and after satellite images show the devastation, this entire area leveled. Myanmar's military junta now allowing hundreds of aid workers to enter the war-torn country. But some of Myanmar's airports have been damaged by the quake, aircraft unable to land, making it difficult for rescue teams and equipment to reach areas impacted by the quake. In Bangkok, Thailand, 600 miles away from the epicenter, this video shows the moment this skyscraper, which was still under construction, collapsed. The scope of the destruction evident from above. ABC's Britt Clendit is there.
Rescuers here are working all through the night using heavy machinery to lift large pieces of debris in the hope of finding any survivors.
China, Russia, and India say their response teams are now arriving in the region. A U.S. military team seen assessing the damage in Thailand.
We're just got to Bangkok today.
On Friday, President Trump indicated that the U.S. had been in touch with officials in Myanmar and the U.S. would be helping. Dave Packer, ABC News, New York.
President Trump is insistent. He says the United States will do whatever is necessary to obtain Greenland. The president told NBC News' Kristen Welker that he won't take anything off the table to obtain Greenland, including military force. But he said there's a good possibility it won't be needed. The president said he is in serious discussions about the annexation of Greenland, which is a territory belonging to Denmark. The president has said obtaining Greenland would have both economic and national security benefits. And meanwhile, Denmark's foreign minister scolded the Trump administration for its tone in criticizing his country's handling of Greenland.
Many allegations have been made. And of course, we are open to criticism. But let me be completely honest. We do not appreciate the tone in which is being delivered. This is not how you speak to your close allies. And I still consider Denmark and the United States to be close allies.
Vice President J.D. Vance Friday accused Denmark of underinvesting in Greenland's security. Speaking at a military base in Greenland, the vice president also demanded that Denmark hear out President Donald Trump's proposal to take over the mineral-rich territory. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth joined Japanese leaders for a memorial service on Iwo Jima. The Pacific island was the scene of a brutal battle during World War II, 80 years ago today. Hegseth, currently on a tour of Asia, arrived in Japan after visiting the Philippines. The visit comes as China continues to bolster its naval presence across the Indo-Pacific. Now, speaking at the memorial, Hegseth hailed Japan and the U.S.'s military alliance as the cornerstone of freedom in the region. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has also signed a memorandum directing his department to, quote, realign the size of its civilian workforce. Specifically, the memo instructs defense officials to reopen a deferred resignation program for the department's 900,000 full-time civilian employees. It will allow participating workers to resign with full pay and benefits until September 30th. Now, according to the DoD, around 21,000 of its civilian employees have already volunteered. The Naval Academy says it's ending affirmative action in its admissions process. In a court filing, the DOJ says the Academy will no longer consider race, ethnicity, or gender as a factor for admissions. This comes after President Trump signed an executive order directing the armed forces not to show preference based on race or sex. Now, this also comes after a judge ruled in December the Academy could continue considering race in its admissions process. A federal judge has blocked the Trump administration from dismantling the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. The judge on Friday issued a ruling to keep the agency active until a lawsuit to preserve the agency is decided. The ruling says the administration must halt any efforts to shut it down. The CFPB's chief operating officer said earlier this month the agency was in wind-down mode after Trump fired the previous director. Congress established the CFPB after the 2008 financial crisis to monitor and investigate consumer complaints. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has big plans for his department, but his move to slash the HHS workforce could complicate things. RFK is moving forward with eliminating 10,000 federal jobs. According to the HHS, going that route will save $1.8 billion a year. Now, experts say that hurt his goals of making the U.S.'s food healthier. RFK in West Virginia Friday explaining what his goal is.
The real battle is that we're getting sicker and sicker every year. And no matter, and it's really just a debate about who's going to pay the treatment. Nobody has been focused on how do we get ourselves less sick.
He arrived after the state signed a food dye ban this week. The HHS says it's aiming to combine 5 existing divisions. The agency has not yet said what the changes will mean for RFK's ambitious plans. A federal judge is ordering the Trump administration to temporarily pause its efforts to shut down Voice of America. In the ruling Friday, the judge James Paul Oken said the Trump administration overstepped its authority and that congressional approval is required to pull VOA's funding. The decision comes 2 weeks after the White House slashed the U.S.-funded news agency's budget and placed its 1,300 staff members on leave. Friday's ruling stems from a lawsuit filed by VOA journalists. New seating options are coming ahead of the Blue Angels practice season if you're willing to part with some cash at the National Museum of Naval Aviation. The National Naval Aviation Museum is offering a new option for viewing Blue Angels practices. Admirals Club seating includes premium seats, water, and earplugs. The cost is $10, first come, first served. The Blues scheduled their first public practice on Wednesday. A reminder, there's a change in what you can bring with you. Only clear tote bags will be allowed and diaper bags will have to be inspected. The museum has all the details on their website. And WEAR is having another Shredathon next weekend. We're partnering with Gilmore and the Better Business Bureau for the Okaloosa Shredathon. It's been scheduled for Saturday, April 5th at the Destin Fort Walton Beach Fairgrounds and Event Center on Lewis Turner Boulevard. It runs from 8 to 11 a.m. or until the trucks are full. You can bring up to 50 pounds of documents in 2 small bags or boxes. The documents should be removed from binders, but staples and paper clips are acceptable. And you can weigh in on plans to rehabilitate the Bob Sykes Fishing Pier. Escambia County is hosting another public meeting Thursday, April 10th. It'll be at 4 p.m. at the Santa Rosa Island Authority office, and staff will share an update on where the project is right now and a proposed timeline of what's next. They'll also be able to answer any questions. The project is being funded by a federal Restore grant and a grant related to damage caused by the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. And we'll have your winning lottery numbers when we come back.
Monday night, wraparound moisture, a lot of cloud cover lingering through Tuesday, and after that we will clear out and warm up.
Thank you so much for watching WEAR News. For news 24 hours a day, log on to our website at weartv.com.